Is there a reason why I am sick? Okay, so I have my elephant scenario that I'd like to share with you guys, to kind of break apart everything that we learned this week. So I woke up and I took today off because I have a really bad sore throat. I've lost my voice. I have nausea, sense of smell. I was just like, oh my gosh, I've never had COVID before. Do I have COVID? What's wrong? I'm too sick. I think before COVID and I had these symptoms, I would have totally gone into work. But all of a sudden, I'm just like, you know what? It's just not worth it. And if I feel this bad and if I can't walk and if my muscles are this sore, I'm just going to take the day off, even though I can't really take the day off because I don't really have any time left off. Anyways, the scenario is I took today off because I am sick. All right. Now, there are many plausible factors that go into this before we think about what is reality and what is the process or the act of reality or the act of knowing what is right or wrong. Hence, what is ontology and what is epistemology. So I woke up this morning and I was feeling really horrible. So I took today off. It starts on Monday. And later in the afternoon, one of my students says, Miss Leroux, can I go to the nurse's office because my throat is sore? I said, okay. As soon as she said that, I started to feel my throat getting sore. And I'm just like, hey, that's just stop doing that. Stop having like empathy sore feelings. Okay. Well, the sore throat kept on progressing. And I went and got my hair done later that evening. And I've been feeling extremely dehydrated lately. My lips have been super chapped and I can't drink enough water, and I'm starting to get tired. Well, then I woke up on Tuesday and my throat I couldn't talk, but I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm not getting sick. I don't have time to get sick. This is not happening. On Tuesday, I managed to get through all of my classes. Both Monday and Tuesday were lovely days with my students too. I was very happy. I mean, my middle school kids kind of gave me a little bit of a rough start, but I was just like, they're being them. They're all going through something as well. Then my boyfriend comes up from Albuquerque on Tuesdays usually, and I, this is the start of my birthday week. My birthday's coming up this weekend. And so I'm just like, no, I want to have fun. I don't feel good, but I'm just like, I want to have fun. I want to just try to enjoy, being with my boyfriend. But I couldn't really get any of the drinks down. I couldn't eat anything. Nothing tasted right. I was just so tired. I was practically like falling asleep on him. And then really early this morning, I kept on waking up, I needing more water. But by like 4 a.m, I realized like I'm getting worse, not better. All of these symptoms are just not great to be around kids. And the other situation is, do I have the energy to go through 7 classes today? And I'm just like, I don't have it. And I decided to take the day off, even though I felt really bad and guilty for what that did for putting everyone else in a more difficult situation. And I'm not the only person that's feeling sick at school. But as I mentioned before, I think if COVID hadn't happened, I would have just been like, get your butt up and, get it through this day. You're going to have to do it, but I was just like, no, I'm just not going to. I think if I try to get through today, it'll just make things worse. So then I've been sleeping all day. Obviously, I've taken some Theraflu or, daytime like flu medicine. I'm feeling better. I will definitely go to work tomorrow, but it's really interesting kind of analyzing this whole situation and how it could relate to ontology and epistemology. And so let's break this whole thing down. What is the reality of the situation? And can it be a questionable subjective scenario? Is there a reason why I am sick? All right. Ontology. We know ontology to be the aspect of reality, or what is reality. And we also ask the question of what can be known from this sense of reality. So within my given context and scenario, in regards to what is reality, the statement then must be, I woke up sick today. And what can be known about reality? Well, why did I wake up sick? Why out of all days was it today that I woke up sick? And what are the factors in this? Epistemology. Well, I like to say that epistemology is the act of knowing. But there's two leading questions that kind of go into this concept or idea. The first one is, how do we gain knowledge? Okay. And the second one, how do we know what is knowable? Okay. How do we know it's truthful? Where does that knowing come from? So when I ask the question, how do we gain knowledge? What I'm trying to ask is, what were the symptoms, or what is it that made me think that I was sick? And then leading into the context of how do we know what is knowable, there are many different factors and options, endless ones, okay? Which should probably start out by asking, am I really sick? So in qualitative research, in terms of ontology and epistemology, there are basically four different components that are broken up under this category or type of research. But we need to start out with something called positivism. And Dr. Gerben Moorman has been telling us that basically positivism asks the question or makes the statement that there can only really be one form of reality or knowing. And usually that's kind of based off a very scientific method, more of a quantitative reasoning than qualitative. And then we kind of transition from positivism into post-positivism / realism. And within this context, we see this line of two constructs, or line of dichotomy, where, there's this single construct of actors that we know, to all the way follow on the other part of the line of multiple scenarios, social constructs in which we can find meaning from this action. Okay. All knowing that everything within this subgroup is very kind of black and white. There is a conclusion, there is a constructive variable that will tell us kind of the answer to this construct. So within this element of my scenario, what I would say with the question of being sick, how did I know I woke up sick this morning? Well, I have certain symptoms that have led me to believe that I am sick. Okay. And these symptoms we have also found in other people, and they have been sick. So if other people have had those same symptoms and they were sick, there's reason to believe then that I am sick. Okay. So that's kind of like the basic construct of positivism, post-positivism, and realism. Okay. All right. So then within this kind of structure of these four different components, subgroups, or elements, we get into something called pragmatism. And I mean, basically, I was explaining to my boyfriend, Billy, that pragmatism is like, does it make sense? Like, is it practical? What leads us to believe this? And within the sense of ontology and epistemology, we can kind of ask the questions of like, what are the social constructs or realities that kind of make it true? Like, what is functioning in society that allows us to believe this? And specifically, with the sense of or act of knowing, what is the process of problem solving in order for us to understand this situation? So, in this context, with my scenario, what I would say is, I have woken up and I feel sick. So what leads me to believe that I am sick? Okay. So as opposed to positivism, where I'm just like, I have this symptom, okay, I have a sore throat, I'm dehydrated, I have a cotton mouth, I'm not sleeping, my stomach is all gooey, and really looking at it scientifically, I'm going in problem solving and saying, oh my gosh, I have these different types of symptoms. What could it be? Could it be COVID? I've never had COVID, but a lot of these symptoms are directed towards COVID. Oh my gosh. So if I have COVID, then I shouldn't go to work. All of these I'm taking these puzzle pieces and I'm putting them together and putting them in a social constructs to make meaning. And so pragmatically, I'm going through the list, I'm Googling on my phone, what could it be? How can I be sick, and what kind of sick am I? So is it COVID? Is it just exhaustion? Am I burned out from being overloaded by so many different things? I mean, is it my period? I just got my period on Monday, where this whole scenario started, or simply, am I just dehydrated? There was this book that came out and it says, you're not sick, you're just thirsty. Is that really the reason? I mean, I have just woken up every morning and my mouth, I'm just gulping down this water. you know you know how is it, given these symptoms, how is it that I am sick, and what am I sick with? So now we get into some really kind of trippy scenarios of this construct that we have created. We get into this subgroup called social constructivism. So within social constructivism, we are confronted with the fact that there are so many multiple social realities that could plausibly make meaning. Okay, so it's not the symptoms itself, it's not the process of problem solving, it's really looking into what are the social factors around me, and have there been created patterns, and is that a reaction to what is going on? As an act of knowing, usually within social constructivism, this sense of knowing is constructed through this sense of dialogue or a pattern that has been created within your life. And what Dr. Gerben Mormon, how he was explaining it is he is this incredibly charismatic Dutchman. And so he was going in and saying, well, what makes me Dutch? And within constructivism, he kind of went into this whole series of Dutchness, and what that means and how it can create this persona of who he is. And so in my construct, it's heaviness. What makes me heavy and what leads me to believe based on heaviness that I would be sick. Okay. So ultimately, I have to question, has this ever happened to me before? Have I been sick in this way? Well, yes, I have. I overload myself so much that I make myself sick. And this happens probably once to twice a year. All my friends and family know about it. My mom's always like, Evie, you listen to your body. This is going to happen. Why are you, slow down. Billy's like, just chill, just big time chill, if that's what I need in your life. So, based on, so yes, this type of scenario has happened. It's a pattern that happens in my life, so I should really acknowledge that, as a constructivist component in this social realm of possibilities. Another situation that could be possible of why I am sick, creating this behavioral pattern, is, I moved back to the States from China last June, and I am the only person among my friend group that has jumped right into a job. So not only am I getting my PhD full time, but I was like, heck, let's do a full-time job as well, and one will complement the other. So it's like a win-win scenario. But there are two major things in my life going on at the same time, and I'm very overloaded. And then at the same time, it's Chinese New Year's, and I'm seeing all of my friends and family take off all this time, going and traveling. China has opened up, Ultimately, I'm asking myself, am I just jealous? Is this sickness in me jealousy? I'm not really sick. I'm just sad that I don't get to chill and have fun and go travel. That the choices that I have made of working in my PhD program have psychologically led me to believe that I am sick because that is better than the choices that I have made for myself. Another like weird scenario of why I could possibly, the constructs leading together of why I might be sick is so Wednesdays tend to be a day where things happen. And twice we have had 2 late starts because of weather conditions. Last Wednesday, I was out. I took the day off because I got my sty removed, and so could it be a habitual thing? It's Wednesday. I don't really feel like going in. My body's telling me, Ev, you don't usually have to go in right when you normally go in. So let's listen to your body. Is your body telling you don't want to go in? Okay, maybe that's why I'm sick. The last scenario that I'm going to suggest maybe is this like weird cryptic thing of, my boyfriend comes up on Tuesday nights. We have a great time. And we're at a point in our relationship where I, maybe question, like, does he really care? And so am I using this sickness for like a test to see if he really cares? Does he want to take care of me when I'm sick? What does that mean? I hope to God that that's not the scenario. But subconsciously, am I creating a scenario in order to give reason of these developed sick symptoms. And as Dr. Gerben Mormon suggests, are other possibilities? Yes, of course. There's a million possibilities that could possibly like play into this construct. But just to say, social constructivism is this realm of possibilities. All right, so to sum up this whole thing, we lastly want to talk about something called postmodernism. And we find this within any type of arts realm or kind of subjective way of thinking that gives a sense of independence. Okay. So, thinking about all of these different ways of processing in order to kind of come to this agreed upon answer or construct or sense and way and act of knowing, I've got to ask myself, am I really sick? How can we really know if I was sick? If I get better, was I ever really sick? Did I make up this whole thing just to kind of prove a point with this assignment that I was given this week? And so, with all of these questions and with postmodernism in mind, we'll never really know because everything is so completely subjective. because postmodernism relies on this concept of deconstructing what we have accepted as being truth. All right. And more importantly, any conclusions thereafter are purely subjective. So coming back full circle, what is reality? What can be known? How do we gain knowledge? And how do we know what is knowable? And after going through all of this, I ultimately have to ask myself, does it really matter? Well, I can say I'm now going to go back to bed because I still feel pretty crappy.